In many cases, shelters have a cutoff limit, as some as early as 10 years of age may not accept either children or young men of that age into the shelter. So imagine yourself as a parent having to be faced with the choice to continue living homeless with your children or go to a shelter and surrender your child to state custody. I mean, that's a really horrible decision.
Mid-South Viewpoint, a Christian news and information feature of Bott Radio Network 640 AM, discussing the news, views, issues, and concerns that affect our community. Join us now for today's edition of Mid-South Viewpoint.
In the late 80s, Fayette County was known as one of the poorest counties in the nation. Concerned about the sad conditions facing many low-income families, community members gathered to address the needs of the poor. Representatives from faith communities, business leaders, elected officials, and other caring individuals joined to form Fayette Cares. We've got the executive director right now on Mid-South Viewpoint with us, Alexandra Wardlaw. You've been on our program before.
Yes, I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me back.
The biggest disappointment for me is that you can't be here in the studio with me right now because you've got a big race happening this weekend.
It is crazy right now, Byron, so I appreciate you letting me call in. We've got hundreds of registrants for the Cotton Pickin' 5K this Saturday, September 12th, so it's busy.
I love the title of this race, the Cotton Pickin' 5K, and also the 1K Cotton Candy Fun Run.
We had a lot of fun selecting those names. You know, it was a brainstorm because, like all we do at Fayette Cares, volunteers are involved. But the theme ties into the Fayette County Chamber's Cotton Festival. So the Fayette County Chamber has this wonderful event that includes a car show and live music and vendors. In the morning of that event, Fayette Cares hosts its charity 5K. We enjoyed having fun with that name and called it the Cotton Pickin' 5K and have a 1K Cotton Candy Fun Run.
So the Cotton Pickin' Carnival and the festivities will be taking place this Saturday out in Fayette County. Is that correct?
That's right, on the Somerville Court Square. So we love that we have hundreds of runners from all over West Tennessee and beyond. We've even had people come from Hawaii to participate in this race. And we have a really great time, these beautiful, scenic, quaint town of Somerville, and then we go to the Cotton Festival stage, the Fayette County Chamber Cotton Festival stage, for our awards. There, it's free entrance, and it is family fun. There are inflatables, there's food, there's shopping, there's music, and this really great car show going on. So it is a full day of festivities.
I like this time of the year, these fall festivals, these activities, and an opportunity to come out and support a great organization like Fayette Cares. Now, Alexandra, if you summed up what brings you the most satisfaction as Executive Director of Fayette Cares, what would you say that might be?
Oh, my goodness. It's got to be hands down just seeing people's lives change. When I meet with families who have been so distraught, so in pain, so suffering so severely, living in cars, some of them with small children, moving from house to house or hotel to couch to not knowing what the next day was going to bring as far as food or shelter or safety. When they come to Fayette Cares and you see the sense of relief and the ability to start looking at their future in a very different way because they now have a future, it is truly transformational. Our families quite often are just so hopeless. They don't see but from one day to the next.
You know, Alexandra, I was quite surprised recently. I heard the statistic. My numbers could be off, but the Memphis area and maybe the immediate Mid-South area, there's over 200 homeless families that are in our area. I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about families where there's a mom and a dad, brothers and sisters. As you mentioned, many of them are living under bridges or in car, but you don't really hear as much about these families that are homeless.
It's really hard. It's fair to say that the numbers are even underreported because it's very hard to get a count. Families, as I mentioned, are moving from place to place, just making do. Sometimes they get up a little bit of money to live in a hotel. Sometimes they have friends or relatives that will allow them to stay in the short term at their home. They may have a stint in a car where they're moving from place to place. And, of course, it's very difficult to track families in those conditions, so it's hard to really know the vast problem that we have.
Yeah.
We were blessed to expand our shelter very recently, but we stay full. I mean, it is a struggle to meet the need, and it's no small task. It's not just shelter that our families need. They really need resources. They need to be able to build their skills and their social networks and I say social networks, but I mean, their support networks.
You're not talking about Facebook.
No, I certainly don't mean that. These folks are definitely needing help to build the skills, build the resources, access the services that they need that will lead to finding jobs, having stable homes, budgeting their finances, and that's a lot of the work that we do here at Fayette Cares.
Have you considered what Fayette County might look like without an organization like Fayette Cares?
I hear folks say all the time that they just can't imagine. The families that we work with, Fayette Cares is their source of support. They really would have to connect with other resources in other communities that stay equally full. So there would be homeless families, there would be devastated families. I mean, our children that live in these households, they are in such upheaval, they're not able to focus on schoolwork, they're not able to focus on planning for their futures, envisioning what they can be. They're living in crisis day to day. It takes so much of their energy and their childhood to make it from one day to the next. It's an awful way to grow up. We're really seeing lives being impacted for the better by providing a service like Fayette Cares and futures, generations that change because we're able to serve.
What have you learned, Alexandra, about the people of Fayette County since taking on your position with this organization?
I've learned that the people of Fayette County want to help their neighbors in need. I have seen so many folks, especially longtime community residents, want this to be a healthy environment. Your newcomers to Fayette County want to engage hands-on with meaningful work. They seek opportunities at Fayette Cares, and they fully engage. I mean, they get involved, like these events, like the Cotton Pickin' 5K this weekend. It is just a huge volunteer-driven effort. We have 4 big events each year. Our charity gala, Night of Southern Elegance, that's coming up in the fall, is another one. Hundreds of volunteers. So these are people that want to give of their time, their talent, their treasure, to see to it that people who are in a very desperate situation have hope.
And that's what you guys are all about. And that's another good reason why our friends need to come out and support the Cotton Pickin' 5K this Saturday, benefiting Fayette Cares. What do people need to do to register and lace those shoes up and get ready to run?
Yeah. Registering is as easy as going to FayetteCares.org. You can register online. You can register at early packet pickup. We've got 2 locations. This Thursday and this Friday, we'll have spots where you can register on site. You can get your shirt, your runner number, all that good stuff well in advance and not have to even check in on race day. Or you can register on race day. This Saturday, the race actually starts at 8:30. So if you get there early, it's only $30, and that contribution gets you a awesome performance T-shirt. Really cool-looking shirts. We have them on our website, and they're a lot of fun. They're moisture-wicking performance shirts. And then, of course, a chance, if you compete in the 5K, a chance to win the really cool Cotton Bale trophies. It's a fun event. There's music, there's refreshments, and then the fun at the Cotton Festival. So that $30 contribution that helps provide services like our domestic violence intervention programs, like our hunger relief services, like our shelter, gets you a whole lot, but it gets people in need a whole lot more.
Is this what they call a sanctioned race, Alexandra?
It's not. We do have chip timing, so we've got a wonderful course. You will have a very accurate time. Your runner number has a device, an electronic device. It triggers at the start and it triggers at the finish, so you get your true time. So you will be able to have a great, hey, this is maybe my personal record,
Yeah.
And you'll be able to have those awards. But the 1K is also just a fun run, so that's not competitive. And a lot of times folks who are new to running or maybe just want to walk, or young kids,
you can bring the stroller out with the kids, too, I guess.
That's right. And the kids get a cotton candy at the end of the finish line, and every one of the 1K fun runners gets a participation medal. So they don't get left out of the awards. They have a lot of fun with that, too.
Hope's Cottage is a supportive housing program. You mentioned some of its services that you guys operate. What determines someone's ability to participate in this program?
Our supportive housing program is for homeless families and individuals. So it really can be a single mom with children or a single dad with children or a single individual, male or female. So it's not specific to one type of population. But homelessness is the key, and we also have to identify that there are some challenges, some barriers to supporting themselves. So we are very focused on families who don't have the resources, who maybe have some sort of situation like perhaps it's a disability or a substance abuse issue, or they're fleeing domestic violence, and these are the reasons that they are unable to do this on their own and need our help.
Now, is Hope's Cottage a single dwelling housing, or is there multiple units?
It's actually, it looks like a little bitty apartment complex, if you imagine that. And so our families live in individual residences. It's not a group setting. So each apartment, shall we say, has its own kitchen, its own bath and bedrooms. We have this beautiful play area, common play area that some amazing volunteers from Ring, who is one of our sponsors, by the way, for the Cotton Pickin' 5K, they helped us develop this beautiful playground for our families. It allows us to do something that we've found to be very challenging. In many shelters that are a communal group home, the challenge comes with ages of the children, the inherent risks in having these multiple families living under one roof with multiple ages and genders. So that can be risky. And in many cases, shelters have a cutoff limit, as some as early as 10 years of age may not accept either children or young men of that age into the shelter. So imagine yourself as a parent having to be faced with the choice to continue living homeless with your children or go to a shelter and surrender your child to state custody. I mean, that's a really horrible decision. So many families will continue to be living how they can, struggling.
And how long do residents typically stay at the Hope Cottage?
So Hope's Cottage is a program that allows families to work towards their goals of self-sufficiency and stable housing. So there is no set date as long as they are compliant with the program. But on average, about 6 months and some beyond. We've had some folks who've stayed longer than that, who've gone on to take classes. For example, CNA class that one of our residents recently completed. So she was able to do that and then come out from being in a position where she was not able to make a living wage, barely making minimum wage, to now being able to have an income that she can sustain her family with. So that's the kind of lasting change that our program allows to happen.
Well, that's got to bring some great satisfaction to you, too.
Yeah, to see someone come that far, and we celebrate those victories.
Oh, I know you do.
Sure.
Help with rent and utility aid is another area of service you guys have provided. How does someone qualify to receive these funds?
That's right. So this would be something that we're trying to do to keep someone from plummeting into homelessness. If someone has maybe had a financial crisis, they did not expect to lose their job or have had an illness or an injury, some kind of a devastating expense that now suddenly they are unable to pay their rent or their utilities, and they could face that homeless situation, we want to be able to intervene. We want to keep them from toppling. So we're able to pay rents, utilities, of course, provide things like food and housewares and even school supplies and school uniforms so that that family stays as stable as possible, and then link them to resources like employment opportunities or training opportunities, educational opportunities that will take them to the next step so that the crisis is stabilized.
Hey, in case you're just joining us, we're visiting with Alexandra Wardlaw. She's the Executive Director of Fayette Cares, a wonderful service organization in Fayette County. We're learning more about their services, their outreach, in addition to the upcoming Cotton Pickin' 5K this Saturday. You don't want to miss out on your race opportunity. Come out and have some fun, even during the 1K Cotton Candy Fun Run. 8:30 a.m. The 5K will start. 9:30 a.m. The 1K will start this Saturday at 205 East Street in Somerville. What a wonderful community to go to. You get that small town feel. So even Memphis listeners are going to want to pack up the kids and the family and head up to Somerville this weekend and just enjoy a whole day, Alexandra, as you mentioned, of family fun. Not only the Cotton Pickin' 5K and the 1K Cotton Candy Fun Run, but the whole day of the Cotton Pickin' Festival.
It is the Fayette County Chamber Cotton Festival.
Oh, so that is called the Cotton Festival then?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and it's provided by the Fayette County Chamber of Commerce.
Is there any cost to those activities?
No, there's free entrance, and it is a full day of fun. That goes on. It's open air, so you've got live music on the festival stage. You've got this wonderful car show that you can peruse at your leisure. You don't have to pay to see any of that. And then, of course, all that fun festival food. There are inflatables, like bounce houses and games to play, and lots of merchants, lots of shopping all over the square. And it's an adorable square. We joke about it being like Mayberry. So it's really a beautiful place to see.
I don't know if I've asked you this in a prior interview or not. When did you first arrive in Fayette County? And tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, Byron, I came, I think it was 1996, so 20-something years, I guess we're there. I actually came, my husband has some roots in LaGrange, and it was funny because his family started with his sister coming for a school reunion. She fell in love with a home, she bought it, and within a year, all of his siblings, my parents, his mother, we all moved to Fayette County. We were just so charmed.
And where did you move from?
Some of us from different areas, but we moved from Houston. So we came from a big metropolis to this gorgeous little country town where, to coin the Cheers phrase, everybody knows your name. You really are part of a community. And part of what really drew us to Fayette County and to be a part of Fayette County is that you really can make a difference. We feel like in a town like this, you can get so involved and you can see the fruits of your labor, like volunteering at Fayette Cares or helping in your local church or just being a part of the local schools. It really makes a huge impact.
Now, you started out as a volunteer with Fayette Cares, didn't you?
I did actually. Came in to volunteer and got my kids involved. In a short period of time, I learned about an opening. They were developing a domestic violence intervention program, and I was just drawn to it. That was really something that was meaningful to be a part of. So I came into the organization as part of that initial domestic violence intervention component that was starting up for the agency. Statistically, 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. So that's a huge impact. That's not just a woman's issue. I mean, that it can affect men. There are men who are victims, although there is a smaller percentage that does happen. And it affects our entire communities because domestic violence doesn't just stay at home. It, of course, affects employees who go to work and then have to deal with an abuser coming to their workplace. We've heard such tragic things happen, like abusers coming and gunning down victims in the workplace. Children become pawns in this domestic violence push and pull, and they are affected by it at home, at school, everywhere they go. So this is a huge impact on our community. So I was really drawn to be a part of some of the work that could help victims break that cycle, and of course the children involved break that cycle for generations to come.
You said something key just a second ago. You said that when you volunteered, kids got involved too. So you were actively engaging your family, not just yourself, but your whole family, working with Fayette Cares.
Yeah, that's something that just has been instilled in me since I was a child. My parents always had me involved in different volunteer activities on a very regular basis, and that's something that I think it builds us as caring people. We have to be introduced to that at an early age, and so those are some really neat opportunities that Fayette Cares allows, is that there are lots of families with children. There are lots of schools with community service requirements that can find meaningful volunteer opportunities year-round at Fayette Cares. I really think it makes a stronger community.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think kids pick up on what we do as parents, and when they see us doing good things and giving back to the community, just because we care and we want to help people out, it has to spill over into their lives. They have to see something different. And what a great tool and a great value you're teaching your kids when you do these things.
Absolutely. And I think it's integral to growing up, That's just part of who you are and part of what we all do.
Now, since 1988, when the Domestic Violence Intervention Services started, where do you see the problem with domestic violence today in Fayette County?
Well, in 1998 would have been when that program began, I believe. The challenge is we do see, obviously, benefits to having this program because we've been able to serve thousands, really, of victims throughout the years to break out of the cycle, to find support and safety and resources. But Fayette County has grown. So we have seen domestic violence crimes increase, in some cases exponentially, because the population of the county is growing. You know, at one time, Fayette County was the fastest growing county in the state. It's been a challenge to keep up with that because our services haven't quite grown as fast as the population has. So it's a struggle. One of the things we're working with our general sessions courts here is to expand our access to victims in the courtroom. Part of what we do is go to the courthouse and work with victims who maybe are filing an order of protection or are there because a criminal case is being heard, a domestic violence crime. We work with law enforcement to receive information from those domestic violence calls and reach out to victims, but we also go to court and assist them in the process of filing for that order of protection, or in some cases providing free legal representation through a legal advocate that works with us. But we are really struggling to reach all of those victims. There are just many more than the manpower that we have available. So we're trying to enlist support from volunteers. We're trying to recruit volunteers to receive some training and be able to be part of that outreach group in the court system that is able to basically give victims information about their rights and the resources available to them and help talk about safety and plan for keeping themselves and their children safe.
Of all the various services that you offer, what would you say gets the largest amount of use by your clients?
I would have to say our residential programs, our shelters, because they are so holistic, victims and folks who are not victims, the homeless families that come to our program not only receive housing and stability, but they are receiving life skills. They're getting classes on a regular basis. They're getting case management where our staff and our volunteers are working with them to identify their goals and help them achieve those goals, and then ultimately get them stable and self-sufficient and in much brighter futures. So that's a pretty involved process. It's a lot to do to help transform lives. So I think our clients really get a lot out of our shelter.
Volunteers, how important are volunteers to your organization? What are some specific ways volunteers can serve?
We could not do it. Fayette Cares would simply not exist without the volunteers. We have hundreds of volunteers that help year-round. On a daily basis, we have folks who are here either assisting with things like maintenance, general upkeep of the facilities. We have a donation center and thrift shop, so our volunteers process those gifts. They set aside those emergency items that we'll use for families in crisis and then help us resell the items that we're able to turn into proceeds to support our work. So our volunteers are managing our food pantry. They're involved in clerical duties. They're involved in activities like the 5K this Saturday. They are all over the course helping us with that event. They help us during our holiday food and toy distributions. I mean, year-round volunteers are involved.
Hey, you mentioned the thrift shop. Some of our listeners probably want to come and see what kind of bargains they can find. Where's the thrift shop located and how does it work? When are the hours?
Oh, yeah, that is a must-see because the bargains are out of this world. I mean, we beat just about anybody on prices. So we've got a wonderful spot on the square with some donated space. So we've got this beautiful shop right in the Summerville Square on East Market Street, 106 East Market Street, and it's open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. Huge deals. Right now, every summer item is $1, just $1.
Just $1.
That's a great bargain for you, for your wardrobe, but then also a wonderful contribution for our services. And then on Main Street, we're at 13300 North Main Street in Summerville, is where we receive donations, but we also have things like furniture, housewares, all kinds of home decor and fun knickknacks, even antiques and collectibles come through, so you just never know what you're going to find.
Wow. Yeah, just about ready to wrap up our program today. Before we do, a couple of things. What would you say are some of the monumental life-change stories that speak of the heartbeat of your mission and why you do what you do?
You know, I've got to say, having received a letter from one of the survivors of domestic violence, this young lady came to us. She had 4 stair-step adorable children with her, and she was like a Lifetime movie. She flew into Fayette Cares, leaving everything behind, not even a change of diapers for the children, looking for safety from a domestic violence situation. And we were able to help her. And some years later, I got a card from her saying, you know, she'd moved to another community, she had stayed safe, her and her kids were doing well, and she was now involved in a domestic violence intervention program teaching victims. And I just thought, man, did we not just help her not only break the cycle for herself, for her children, but she is in turn breaking the cycle with other women in a significant way that may never have happened. Who knows what kind of future, if any future, they would have had. So that is just an amazing thing to behold, that change could have come about, and that change could continue to come about.
What an example. I love it. I love it. Always like talking to you, Alexandra. We haven't gotten together in a while. You always got some exciting news of what's taking place at Fayette Cares, and especially this Saturday for the Cotton Picking 5K race to help benefit your organization, Fayette Cares. Starts at 8:30 a.m. is the 5K race time, 9:30 a.m. for the 1K Cotton Candy Fun Run. All the benefits go to Fayette Cares. $30 gets you a wonderful T-shirt. You're going to enjoy some great fellowship with other runners and families coming out. Come on out and help support this great work. Again, 205 Southeast Street in Somerville, Tennessee. Give that web address, too, again, Alexandra.
Yeah, absolutely. FayetteCares.org. You can register online. And, Byron, I have got to give a shout-out to our amazing sponsors, Cargill Cotton, Ring, the Bank of Fayette County, the Town of Oakland, Sedgwick, Somerville Animal Hospital, and so many others. They have contributed thousands to make this possible. They are year-round supporters of Fayette Cares. Their people volunteer, they contribute monetarily, they provide supplies. So these folks are truly engaged in changing lives.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing back to the community, Alexandra, and how your leadership is providing some wonderful ways to see life change, and just your excitement for the people and the work there. It makes it a lot of fun.
I enjoy it. It's an honor and a blessing, so I'm the one that's fulfilled just by being part of it.
Hey, if somebody wanted to contact you personally, maybe have you come speak to a church or civic group, what could they do?
Oh, we would love that. So you can contact us through FayetteCares.org. There's a, contact us button. Email info@FayetteCares.org or call 465-3802, and that's 901-465-3802. I would absolutely love to go out and speak to different groups, tell them about our organization and ways that they can get involved.
All right, Alexandra, thanks so much for your time today on Mid-South Viewpoint.
Thank you so much, Byron.
Friends, that's all the time we have on today's Mid-South Viewpoint. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Byron Tyler. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Mid-South Viewpoint. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can email us. Our address is wcrv@botradionetwork.com. This has been Mid-South Viewpoint, another Christian news and information feature from Bot Radio Network 640 AM.